This is Rob Tubbett for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted, as always, to be joined by Lupe Suliai, La'auli Ole Maliatoa, Joseph Parker. We're here in Las Vegas at Team Barry Gym. How are you, Joseph?
I am good. You always
I have to do that again. Malo, Joseph. One my way.
Malo, love it. Good, thank you, Rob.
How are you, sir? It's been a while. Well, it's not. It's been about 4 weeks, but how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, obviously it's a camp that we came back in great shape and everything was going well until we got that spider bite illness that was out of our control. But health is a lot better now. Training every day, feeling good. So hopefully we can lock in a fight soon.
Right, let's talk about that spider bite because it's been the cause of much conversation back in the UK. It's not even for boxing. It's kind of a weird one. Show me your spider bite. Hold the microphone, and I'm going to sort out the camera, and then you show me.
Well, it's healed. It's healed now.
Yeah, but we can still see it.
But it's going to be like, I think it's going to be like this forever, and it's all bruising around.
Oh, lovely.
So I've had this for the last maybe. So this has been the 10th week now having this. So it's not really. It doesn't look good, right? But it is what it is.
It's yeah. I mean, I've been shown a picture of when it happened, and it looks a lot better now than when it did at the start. So tell me about it. What happened? Where were you? What happened?
So I was in New Zealand getting ready to come back to camp, and I just I don't know how I got it. And I looked down at my leg. My daughter said to me, "Daddy, what's that?" And then I looked down and said, "Oh, there was a hole in my leg." Obviously, I had no idea. Didn't think much of it. So I came back to camp. I was feeling strong. I was working hard in New Zealand. I was doing strength work, I was running every day. Fitness was good. So I think my body was able to fight it off until I got into the sparring phase of camp. And then probably the 5th week of camp, body just went downhill, and we were wondering what it was. And then we went to the doctor, and he said that it might be a spider bite. Now, that was a surprise to me because I didn't even know New Zealand had dangerous spiders or poisonous spiders. And we did our research and found out that it actually does live in New Zealand. So, and listen, I had no idea.
How did it affect you? You said it was a couple of weeks, or when you got back and you got into camp. How did it affect you? How did it make you feel? And how did it prevent you from fighting Derek Chisora?
So I was feeling strong for the first 4 weeks. And then slowly I wasn't able to sleep at night. I started sweating at night. And even though there's aircon, the house is air conditioned. And the body was aching, just tightness everywhere, sore, cramps and soreness in the abs. And so I couldn't figure out what it was.
How frustrating was it? Because, the Derek Chisora negotiations had rumbled on from about April, May. It was put back and put back and put back. And then obviously you had your date, you're working towards it, and something like this happened. How did it make you feel?
Well, obviously, for our team, it was very frustrating because it was a fight that we wanted for a long time. And it's a fight that he wanted as well. Finally, we made it happen. Everyone's preparing well and excited for the fight, and this hits us. And it's not really ideal. But it's one of those things where it was out of our control, and I kept fighting in my mind, you'll be all right, but the body just couldn't sort of keep up.
So what's the plan for you now? As I understand it, you're back in camp. Obviously you're back in camp, you're back here in Las Vegas. So what's the plan for you moving forward?
I'm in camp, I'm training every day. I wanted to get a fight before the end of the year, but the way that it's looking, the promoters already have shows on that I think already stacked with other fighters, and I guess pulling out of the fight wasn't the best option, but it was the only option we had. And so if we can't get a fight before the end of the year, we're looking at maybe February or March. I just got to work with management team, Eddie Hearn and Frank, and see what we can sort of do.
Obviously, you were scheduled to box Derek Chisora. I watched him in action this past weekend against David Price. Did you watch the fight?
Yeah, we watched it. Kevin and I were watching very closely. And it was a good win from him. He put on a performance where he said he's going to put on pressure, and that's all he does. Puts on pressure and throws big bombs, and he's fit to do it. So he looked pretty good.
What would have happened had you been in the ring that night? Did you see anything different from him? Did you see anything that you wouldn't have expected to see had you have boxed him?
I from what I saw, it's that's his style of fighting, and that's what he's used to. Putting on the pressure, throwing big punches, and he got David Price out of there. For me, if I was in the ring, I wanted to be in the ring. I was watching with frustration. I was thinking, damn, I wish I was there. If it was me, I would have just, I think I know I would have outboxed him, and I know I would have caught him coming in, and I know I can put him out.
Now, obviously, a lot of the talk after the fight was from David Haye, who's Derek Chisora's manager. He was talking about fighting potentially Alexander Usyk, who's got the WBO mandatory status. What do you make of that fight? I mean, what do you make of certainly them calling for that fight when you were supposed to fight Derek?
Yeah, I guess they're looking at all options, but personally, I think he should fight me. You know, it's a fight that we did make. Obviously, it was out of our control what happened, and you know, things happen in boxing. But we're ready. We're never ready.
What did you make of Alexander Usyk's debut at heavyweight? He boxed Chaz Witherspoon, who was another late replacement after Tyrone Spong failed a drugs test. What did you make of his heavyweight debut?
I guess it was a good welcoming fight into the heavyweight division, and Usyk is a fighter with a lot of skill, achieved a lot in his career so far. I think down the line, I would love to fight him as well. I love to fight him because I like to test myself against a skillful fighter.
How much of a problem do you think he's going to be at heavyweight? Obviously, he's former undisputed cruiserweight champion. He boxed heavier when he was an amateur. Do you see him having what it takes to potentially win a world title?
I think, yeah, I think he does, and I think it's up to him. We know that he works hard, and I guess it's just having the right fights at the right time and guiding his career in the heavyweight division, the right way.
Now, since the last time I saw you, last time I was out here was for Tyson Fury versus Otto Wallin. Going into the fight, a lot of people were expecting that to be something of a walkover for Tyson, who's somebody I know you know very well. What did you make of that fight?
That was a interesting fight. That was entertaining. A lot of blood, and I guess it might have been, that might have been the reason. We don't know the reason why he was a bit. Not off, but just it wasn't, a lot of people expected the fight to be different, but, then again, stars make fights and boxing is boxing and you never know what to expect sometimes.
Saw a photo of you and Mr. Fury not too long ago of a certain Mr. Mayweather enjoying some of the Las Vegas, it was probably a library or a church that you were in, I'd imagine it was. What were you up to with Tyson?
Yeah, I was, that was a time where I was sort of getting better from the illness that I had, or spider bite, and he gave me a text. He was in town, come for a feed. So I went for a feed, and obviously went out and met up with Floyd, and just got the photo for the gram.
Obviously you've been based in Vegas, or certainly when you've been training out here for a long time. Yeah. Do you come across Floyd often at all?
I've only, I've seen Floyd. I went and watched him fight many times when he was fighting. Went with Kev and a few of our friends. I've met him twice or 3 times now. So I see him. I've only seen him 3 times. Is that a lot? I don't know. Not really. Not really,
considering you've been based here for a long time. What do you make of Tyson's new career? He's on the way, or probably landed now in Saudi Arabia ahead of his WWE match with Braun Strowman. What do you make of that?
Listen, WWE is one of those things. I watched it as a kid growing up, and I guess for him, it's one of those things where he's just taking the opportunity of doing different things while he can. Imagine down the line, if he didn't take the opportunity, he might not get it again. So I think it's a thing for him where he's taking the opportunity. It's keeping him active, keeping him training, keeping him busy, so there's no time to, muck around and do things that we shouldn't be doing.
WWE something that you potentially tend your hand to later on in your career? I know a certain other Samoan has done quite well in it once upon a time.
Yeah. Listen, I've said to Fury, if you ever need to, what is it, a tag partner? Yeah, just listen, let me know and I'll be there. Listen, you can give everything a go. Just, it's an opportunity to do something different. And if I got the opportunity, I'll take it with both hands.
We mentioned already Chisora versus Price. That was on the undercard. Much was made about that initially, of Josh Taylor versus Regis Prograis. I know that you watched Chisora Price. Did you watch Prograis Taylor?
Yeah, I watched most of that fight. It was a very tough fight. Going back and forth, and then it's good to see them after the fight. Giving each other credit. And just there was a good photo of them after the fight. Yeah, his eye was. Oh yeah, Taylor's eye was. And then the other guy had a lot of marks as well, Regis. Yeah,
it was a clash of heads, I think, in the 8th or 9th round. Because you're not somebody who watches an awful lot of boxing, are you? I speak to some fighters who watch every fight that's ever on, and you're not somebody like that, are you?
Well, listen, I don't watch all fights, but I watch. I do watch a lot. After during the week we'll sit down at home and watch fights on a Friday night, Saturday. Mostly the big fights, but I don't watch all fights. Or maybe I should, eh? Maybe it'll help with my.
Yeah, potentially, maybe. grab your opinion on a few other little bits and pieces before I let you go. I know you're going to be training today. I've got to speak to Kev as well, which is always an entertaining interview. Yeah, Mr. Barry. Obviously, I'm here for Canelo versus Kovalev this weekend. How do you see that fight going?
Listen, I'll have to go with Canelo. I see him as more punches, obviously younger. He's been pretty active, and he's a very good body puncher. Kovalev was the bigger fighter, and he looked pretty good on his last fight. Got a good win, and he showed a lot of experience, in that fight. And when he got hurt, coming back and then stopping his opponent.
Just finally, Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz. It seems to be, it is edging ever closer. Before we know it, I think it'll be here. I think we're only 5 weeks out. You shared the ring with both men. I know I've asked you about it in the past, but what do you make of that rematch?
I think they're going to be, obviously, they're going to be a lot more familiar with each other. I think both are going to come in a lot better shape. They've already, they've had a long time to prepare for the fight. We've seen that when Joshua lost the fight, he was in the gym straight away, working on different things, and we've seen him a lot more trim. I think Ruiz, he's a lot of confidence from the first fight. So, who do you pick? I don't know. I have to go with if Joshua fights him from the outside and uses reach, but it's quite hard to keep someone like Ruiz off. The pressure, punches and bunches, and he's a very good counter puncher.
And just finally, I haven't seen him for a while, which makes me worry a little bit. What's David Higgins up to these days?
David, he's back in New Zealand. He's working on different things, different events, keeping himself busy with good things, I hope.
Yeah, we never quite know what Mr. Higgins is up to. Okay, well, as always, it's a pleasure.
Whaafitai lover.
See, I'm still only on the fa.
Yeah.
See, but I did announce your full Samoan name at the start of this interview.
You've come a long way, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Joseph Parker. Always a pleasure catching up with you. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Look forward to seeing you back in the ring, hopefully soon. Hopefully by the end of the year. Yeah. If not, hopefully early next year, and hopefully in the UK, so I can come and it's not too far.
I love the UK. Great supporters.
The UK loves you too. That must be nice.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the former WBO heavyweight champion of the world, Lupisuliai La'a Uli Ole Male Tole Bala Dala, Joseph Parker.